Now, if you're struggling with difficulty falling asleep, or you fall asleep and then waking up multiple times during the night, it might be helpful to do a sleep. Hi, I'm Dr. Clair Francomano, and this is my YouTube channel where we talk about all things related to the Ehlers-Danlos syndromes and hypermobility spectrum disorders. Today we're going to be talking about sleep, and sleep is so very important for well-being. You know, there's a reason that people use sleep deprivation as a form of torture. The human body just does not do well without good sleep. And sleep is regulated by the autonomic nervous system, which can be a problem for many people with Ehlers-Danlos syndromes and hypermobility spectrum disorders. So the autonomic nervous system controls the amount of sleep that we get, the stages of sleep that we get, how quickly we're able to fall into a good, deep, restorative sleep. And so it's very important for us to have a balance in the autonomic nervous system in order to be able to sleep properly. Just a few words about the autonomic nervous system. It's divided in two parts. The sympathetic side is the fight or flight side, and the parasympathetic side is the rest and digest. And so to rest well, we need our parasympathetic nervous system to be functioning properly. For many people with the Ehlers-Danlos syndromes and hypermobility spectrum disorders, if they're living in chronic pain, if life is very stressful, if they have mast cell activation disorders, their sympathetic nervous system, that fight or flight, really dominates over the parasympathetic, and the rest and digest functions are not functioning optimally. So what can we do about that? Well, doing self-care activities that promote the wellness of the parasympathetic nervous system can really help. And some of those kinds of things are exercise and meditation, mindfulness-based stress reduction, and making sure that you have good social communication, social connections, and good social support. All the kinds of things that make you feel comfortable and supported will support your parasympathetic nervous system. On the other side, making sure that pain is managed well and that as many stressors as can be eliminated from life are eliminated is another very important aspect of bringing that autonomic nervous system into balance. From a very practical point of view, good sleep hygiene involves a number of different practices. So for one thing, you want to make sure you're eliminating any exposure to blue light about an hour before you get ready to go to bed. So this means shutting off the screens, the television, the phone, the iPad, the computer, all of those things are blue light emitters. And you want to avoid that because that blue light is giving your brain this message that it needs to be staying awake. So we want it to shut down to start to get ready for sleep. Sometimes a warm bath or a warm shower can really help the body with relaxation. A glass of warm tea and some reading in a book, not a Kindle or on the phone, reading some literature that's relaxing, no thrillers or espionage just before you're going to bed. You want to avoid eating too close to bedtime because that gets the body going, and you want to be able to be calming down and getting ready for sleep and not causing any digestive upset too close to bedtime. Also important to keep the room at a nice cooler temperature. If it's too warm, your body will not be sleeping well. So one other thing that can be very helpful is the use of magnesium supplementation. Magnesium can help with sleep at bedtime. You want to make sure you're getting into a good regular routine. So setting a regular bedtime and getting your body ready to go to sleep and in that circadian rhythm that it gets used to can also be very helpful. When you wake up in the morning, some sun exposure, so going out for a walk early in the morning will help set the pineal gland, which is the gland that helps to control your circadian rhythm, and getting some good sunlight for about 30 to 40 minutes can really help to set that circadian rhythm, get your body into that awake mode, so then when you're ready to go to bed later at night, it's had its day in the sun, it recognizes that it's time to go to sleep. Now, if you're struggling with difficulty falling asleep, or you fall asleep and then waking up multiple times during the night, it might be helpful to do a sleep study that looks at what we call the sleep architecture. And this is examining the different stages of sleep, the amount of time that you spend in the different stages of sleep. The sleep specialists categorize the stages of sleep as N1, N2, N3, and REM. And N1 and N2 are just sort of below the surface of wakefulness. N1 is really just below the surface. N2 is a little bit deeper. And N3 and REM are really good, deep, restorative stages of sleep. And we like to see people spending at least 50% of their sleep time in N3 and REM. And when we do a sleep study, many of my patients come back spending 60, 70, even as much as 80% of their time in N1 and N2. So they're never getting into those really good, deep, restorative stages of sleep that are so essential for feeling rested when you wake up in the morning. If this is the case, it's reflective of that autonomic imbalance that I was mentioning earlier, that the sympathetic nervous system is overriding that parasympathetic nervous system and just not allowing you to get into the really good, deep, restorative stages of sleep. And sometimes we can address that problem using a medication called a beta blocker that damps down the sympathetic response when you go to sleep. So there's a medication called Propranolol, which is one of the very first generation beta blockers. And Propranolol has the advantage that it crosses the blood-brain barrier, so it influences the effect of the sympathetic nervous system in the brain and helps you to get some better, deep, restorative sleep by ratcheting down the sympathetic nervous system. Propranolol has a half-life. It's only about 6 hours, so it's not going to cause you to feel more drowsy the next day. And if this is what's going on and causing that sleep problem for you, that could potentially be a helpful aid. Melatonin is another useful supplement that can be used to help the body get into the readiness for sleep. And I have recently found these patches that contain a small amount of melatonin, hops, valerian root, and magnesium. And this has actually been a very useful aid for me personally. They're made by a company called Wellamoon, and that's something else that you might consider trying out. There are a number of apps that are available with guided meditations that can help the body kind of calm down, relax, and get into that readiness for sleep stage. And one of those is called Calm. There's another one called Headspace, but there are many, many out there to help with sleep readiness and improving the quality of your sleep. So that's a quick summary on sleep issues and some of the things that you can use to deal with them for people with EDS and HSD. Thanks so much for joining me on this video, and I hope to see you again soon. Thanks. Bye now.